The global economy has been bumpy over the past few years. Many countries have been fighting to dominate the global market, with the US at the top. However, a new group is coming to threaten the US and possibly take over, which is the BRICS alliance. The shifting economic supremacy has been of interest over the past few years, with countries trying to figure out how to have a strong economy. The BRICS plus factor might just be the answer the world seeks. But how exactly will it affect your investments? Today, we will examine how the BRICS plus factor affects your investments. One of the most overt themes in 2022 was how the world's economic supremacy was shifting toward the East. Most of this movement was made possible by the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which grows stronger each year. Right now, it seems the BRICS group will have the largest impact on the global economic and geopolitical landscape in 2023. This has been made possible because the BRICS group comprises 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This group has taken some major steps regarding shared policy coordination. Ever since it was formed, several other economies have expressed their interest in joining the bloc, which is greatly growing in power. However, everyone asks how wide the BRICS Plus is and what strategies they use to outperform and supplant Western coalitions in the global economic sphere. One of the major objectives that the BRICS member states seem to have been shifting away from is their dependency on the US dollar. Russia and China had already started implementing a plan to promote the use of a local currency, but this was before the Ukraine war began. This looks to have expedited the efforts to do away with the dollar all over the non-Western globe. This was mainly made possible by deteriorating ties with the US. For example, the dollar shares in bilateral trade between the two countries fell below 50% in the first quarter of 2020. This was after it got to 90% 5 years earlier. As a way to keep up with the theme and foster high-quality cooperation, the BRICS partnership has ushered in a new era of global development. The 5 members of BRICS came up with a new 75-point declaration, which they presented to the world at the 14th BRICS Summit. One of the main topics discussed that day was how they could develop a common payment system for BRICS members, which would mainly be used for retail purchases and transactions across member countries. This would mainly expand the earlier initiatives undertaken by Russia and China to offer other international payment network alternatives to the US-led SWIFT system. There are speculations that in 2023, the other BRICS founding nations, specifically Russia and China, will step up their efforts to promote the organization. As for Brazil, it is expected to exploit its status as one of the founding nations of the BRICS to improve both its own development and the economic growth of the rest of the region. However, the most significant recent development from the organization may be the declaration that the 5 BRICS member states are now seriously thinking about introducing a BRICS reserve currency. If they were to introduce this new currency, then it would be based on a basket of each country's domestic currencies. This would be developed to better serve the economic interests of the BRICS nations. It goes without saying that China is the economic superpower among the BRICS nations. This is mainly because of its rapid economic growth and global expansion. If you measure its purchasing power parity, China has the second largest nominal economy and dominates the global economy. This will definitely have a significant impact on how the global economy develops in 2023. The two nations are already setting the bar pretty high when it comes to presenting the world with a substantial alternative to Western political groupings, such as the G7, which already has an unshakable bond with Russia, which is also part of BRICS. The BRICS group is now making moves to unite on several critical issues. Because of this, South Africa, India, and Brazil all have close political and economic ties with China, Russia, or both. Research has shown that in the 10 years since South Africa officially joined the organization, having joined in 2010, changing BRIC to BRICS, the 5 nations were all able to coordinate policies across 70 significant areas. Some of the greatest achievements that BRICS has made include establishing the new development bank, which is presently funding many infrastructure projects worldwide. Another great achievement they have made in creating the BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement, CRA, which helps the BRICS nations through additional liquidity and other methods. However, Given that the world has grown increasingly polarized over the past year or so, the bloc has made more efforts to advance its economic interests. This has in turn fostered some powerful alternative financial systems. It is no surprise that with the growth and progress of BRICS, many countries have sought to join the group. But what countries are these? Well, the number of countries that wish to become member states of the BRICS group and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has drastically increased in recent years. At the moment, there are about 20 countries that want to join. This was reported by the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. The minister also reported that the countries mentioned earlier make significant contributions where they are supposed to. The list includes a few African nations, as well as Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Argentina, and even Mexico. According to Lavrov, identifying these countries shows the futility of efforts to isolate them. Among the large collection of nations that want to join BRICS is Saudi Arabia. And if they were to manage to join, this would most likely be the most significant addition to the BRICS. This is because of Saudi Arabia's precarious geopolitical environment where the globe finds itself. The US President Joe Biden had made an appeal for OPEC to raise oil production. However, this appeal was ignored and inspired the worldwide oil cartel to take the other direction and decrease output by a large 2 million barrels a day. Because of this move, the ties between the US and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will worsen in 2022. And if the relations between these two countries continue to worsen, Saudi Arabia will most likely push to embrace the BRICS and Eastern economies in general. Washington would have to interpret such drastic steps as Saudi Arabia, siding with Russia and threatening to retaliate. China has a large investment in Saudi Arabia, which has so far gotten the lion's share of its money for infrastructure under the Belt and Road initiatives. And not only that, but this investment has already risen. If Saudi Arabia were to join, some or all of the BRICS nations would surely profit from the Gulf nations' purposeful turn away from the West and toward the East. At the moment, China is Saudi Arabia's largest commercial partner, with its exports to the kingdom reaching a total value of more than $50 billion last year. This is about 18% of all exports. The security of China's energy supply will be Saudi Arabia's top concern for the next 50 years. According to Saudi Aramco, the nation's state-owned oil business, this was introduced in May 2021. The announcement to Arab leaders that China is planning on getting its oil and gas in yuan was one of the most significant political actions that took place during the summit. In addition, Beijing is planning on increasing the use of its currency globally while undermining the US dollar, which is still dominating the world. The BRICS group is making moves that, if they work, will affect the global economy on a large scale. And not only that, but they have already sparked the interest of lots of countries. This shows that they are winning them over, with some even planning to leave the West alone and join the BRICS. Soon, we might have an entirely new ruler of the global market, and the West might no longer be dominating. What do you think of the video? Feel free to let us know in the comments section below. Also, before you go, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing updates on some of the latest news around the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.